If I needed any more confirmation that I have a small ass head, Fosi just gave it to me. This is the i5 planar magnetic headphone, and you should probably buy it. And of course, if you wouldn't mind just liking this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell icon for notifications and whatnot, it really does help me out a ton. Actually, it helped me get these in for review. Cheers. If you're gonna buy anything from Fosi Audio, I recommend these. They cost $549 US and they're kind of awesome. Before we even touch the specs, you get fast free shipping, 24-month warranty, 30-day money-back guarantee, and lifetime customer support. That's not bad at all. The headphones themselves feature a nano diaphragm, a 97mm driver, a planar magnetic transducer, a max SPL of 120 decibels, and they are, quite simply, gorgeous. There's a nice complementary mix of materials going on here. Fosi touts the handcrafted walnut wood chambers, but it's paired with a CNC milled aluminum frame, a black steel headband, along with a pretty sheepskin headband. The ear cups pivot, there's silicone sliders, and there's what they call breathable protein leather ear pads. These look, and more importantly, feel expensive. And now, I sort of wish that I had a dedicated headphone stand or 3 just to put my headphones on, because I don't have one, and I'm starting to amass a few of these things. When I first get these onto my head, the first thing that I notice is their size. They are big, and my head kind of looks like a de facto headphone stand. It's very small in comparison. But what I also notice is how damn comfortable these things are. Those ear cushions are just that, cushions. Big, pillowy cushions against my ear, just awesome. I quickly adjusted these to their smallest setting, and I was off to listening. But after a bit of time wearing these, I do start to notice their weight. They are a big and bulky headphone, and because of that, I don't tend to use them for longer durations of listening. They don't hurt, mind you, they're heavy. They also don't come with a case or anything. Maybe a future case might be nice, but other than that, I don't really have too much to complain about on the design end of things. These are sent along with the ZH3 DAC preamplifier and headphone amplifier, as well as the ZA3 amplifier. So naturally I paired them with the ZH3 to start, but I also used them with the Cambridge DAC Magic 200M and the TIAC UD507. Both of those are headphone amplifiers and DACs. Each was set up on my desk, and that's typically where I use my headphones, either while working, or making tunes, or making these videos, or working. I work entirely way too much. But all the music and audio that I did run through these headphones came via my MacBook Pro, via Spotify or SoundCloud or Apple Music or some of my own owned music, and then sometimes via Ableton when I am making music, but then also editing these videos on Final Cut Pro. And because Fosi Audio sent me 2 different cables, I also switched between those as well. I have the usual 3.5mm one that has an adapter to 1/4 inch, which is the one that I generally use most of the time. But then I also tried out the balance cable, because, I have it. When I did say off the top that you should probably buy these headphones, I wasn't kidding. You should totally consider buying these, but I did say that assuming that for most of you, these wouldn't be your only headphone. These aren't an all-rounder headphone. They're not a do-it-all. They do have their strengths, and I think they sound great for everyday listening, but for a certain type of listening. They have a great mid-range. They have nice highs. It's just that lower end of things that does tend to roll off a little bit. There's not a great deal of sub-bass coming out of these headphones. And that's why these do make, for me anyway, a great secondary set of headphones, where I have headphones already that do push out way more bass. I have some closed back models, and then I have my trusty Sennheiser HD650s, which do have comparatively thunderous bass for an open back headphone. And so if I want something that sounds like that, I can go for that. But if I want something to maybe focus on the mids a bit more, like when I am making these videos and I'm editing my dialogue, these are kind of perfect. I have read online that there is a mod that you can do to give these a bit more bass. Now, I'm not handy at all, so I don't dare take these things apart, because chances are I wouldn't be able to put them back together. But should you be maybe a little bit more handy and you want to tinker with your product, I mean, who am I to stop you? But you can, and others have, apparently. Now, these do take about 10 or 15 hours to fully break in, and I recommend that everyone do it. But when I did finally start playing, I started off with the ZH3 on both the balanced and then the unbalanced 1/4 inch cables, and if I'm being honest, I really couldn't tell the difference between them. But one thing I did like on the ZH3 is that it has tone controls, and that means I can just shave off the treble a touch just to take the edge off, because I am fairly sensitive to highs, and I found that to be more my speed, and it was easier to listen to. The highs never really rung on me. It's just once it gets a little bit too sharp, I kind of start cringing, and I don't enjoy wearing it. I don't like that clinical, super detailed sound. I know others might, but that's not for me. The bass does roll off a fair bit, so when I am listening to a lot of my favorite music or Doc Scott's Future Beats radio show, there's a certain amount missing from that lower end. I know it's there, especially if it's a song that I'm intimately familiar with. Not intimately, it sounds, I'm not sleeping with the song, but if I'm very familiar with the song and I know there's a ton of bass there, I can infer that a lot of that bass is there. It's not completely missing. It's just not as prominent as it is on other headphones. But when I do switch out the headphone amplifier to, say, the DAC Magic 200M, that is a beautiful pairing to my ears to this. But I also should lead with the caveat that I've had that for the longest time, so I might just be conditioned to prefer the sound of that because I've been using it for the past few years and I adore it. So in comparison to the ZH3, there's a similar amount of detail, but it does sound warmer and a bit fuller and richer overall in tone. And I found that was more pleasurable to listen to over the long haul, or just in general over the ZH3. I like that sound more, and it made these sound bigger and fuller, especially with a lot of the electronic music and drum and bass that I like listening to. It just rounded out the sound, gave it more oomph, not just down low, but overall, and I really like that more. And then when it switched over to the TIAC UD507, that has a very similar sound to the DAC Magic 200M. It just costs way more and it's bigger and it has more inputs for headphones. You can put balanced ones in and XLRs in and all those things, but it sounds near identical to the DAC Magic 200M. So, I mean, pick which one your budget suits. And depending on what type of sound preference you have, the ZH3 is the most inexpensive option and might actually tickle your fancy. Now, there are two very specific use cases that I really enjoy these headphones for. And Fosi won't mention these in their marketing materials because these are consumer hi-fi listening headphones, not studio grade headphones. But when I'm editing my A-roll, these are a godsend because they are more focused in the mid-range, and I wear braces, and because of them, I do tend to slur a little bit. My S's are a bit more defined. I run a de-esser as well. And these really help me catch those sibilances, any of the, I guess, noise artifacts that might happen because of my room or because of just my own voice. These pick them up really well, and I'm easily able to EQ those out. The second thing is I really like EQing and mixing and chopping up my drums in Ableton with these because I get to hear more of the transients on these, and I also get to hear more of the tone of, say, the kick drum or the snare. And even though I am doing things by the numbers, I can throw a spectrum on and find the root note of the kick drum and then easily tune it. I can also hear it more on these too. So for those two particular use cases, this is kind of invaluable to me. So yeah, the Fosi Audio i5 Planar magnetic headphone. It's kind of an awesome first foray into the world of headphones for a company not known for making headphones. And if Fosi Audio's product cycles are anything to go by, I can imagine that they're already iterating on this headphone as I talk to you right now. And I can only imagine that V2 of this might be further refined to maybe compensate for the not so deep bass, or maybe there's a closed back version or something of this coming. Who knows? But if my word is worth anything, you should probably give these a listen. Thanks for watching.